Hello. Today I'm going to talk about a slightly faster and more aggressive mindset combination or recipe than the pivot hunter and trend hunter combination. I've had a few requests for something that does a little more action but doesn't go over the top crazy insane. So I got TradingView loaded, Bitcoin on a 1-minute chart. Now this particular recipe needs to start on a 1-minute chart, and it will use Jackrabbit's new differential time frame analysis. So while it's buying on a 1-minute chart, it will actually be using two other time frames as a part of its decision-making process with confirmation of bias, meaning it will be looking for signals off of the current chart and the two other time frames to match. So it slows it down quite a bit compared to just running it off of one chart, but it provides better signals. Okay, now that it's loaded, here is the analysis for Pivot Hunter and Trend Hunter, the default system. Not very many trades. You're looking at about a 4 to 5 day turnaround, 100% for all of these trades. Not bad, reasonable, and well worth it. Now, this is going to change moment to moment. 5 minutes from now or tomorrow, you're going to get a different result. But this shows you why I picked this particular combination as the default. It just works well without being over the top crazy. But now we're actually going to tune and set up the combination I came up with. We're on Bitcoin, we're on the 1-minute chart. We need to start here. And now we will get this to load, and then we will begin tuning the Jackrabbit strategy to show this particular mindset combination. Okay, we have it loaded. Now, I'm going to set this up for a 3C paper trading and for Crypto Hopper. Neither one of them supports shorts or short trading. So I'm going to turn this off for now. Okay, so we'll wait for this to take effect. Now, the combination that I'm using uses risk mitigation and J-Arling. So I'm going to turn those on while at the same time turning off Trend Hunter and Pivot Hunter. Of course, Jackrabbit is going to try to reevaluate things real time, which is what we want. That's not a big deal. Just keep going until we have everything set up. Okay, so we have risk mitigation and J-Arling turned on. It's going to reevaluate everything, But we're going to go down into the risk mitigation area. Here it is, risk mitigation. Now we want to set risk mitigation to light. As you can see right now, with no changes, it does an 87% success rate. That's good. That's not bad. You can even leave it like that if you want. But for the purposes of what I'm demonstrating here, we're going to continue to make changes. Now, we want light, then we want confirmation bias of yes. This is important because we are using multiple time frames, and in fact we're going to be using 2 different time frames. Now we do not want to use the current time frame. This may not seem like a logical step, but because of the way things need to be written, and the interconnection with confirmational bias, we are going to be using the 15-minute chart for risk mitigation, and we are going to be comparing it to the 1-minute chart. So for risk mitigation to issue a buy signal, both the 15-minute chart and the 1-minute chart must produce a confirmation. That is important, and that is why this is set up this way. We want both charts to confirm each other. Now let's go down to J. Arling. Okay, here we are with J. Arling. Now, for this particular strategy, we want 3 buy signals, but we want 3 sell signals. That's important for this one. This is an unusual twist to using J. Arling. We want the buy signals to match the sell signals. Now we want confirmation bias because again we're going to be using 2 different time frames. So we're going to put this to yes. We don't want the current time frame as the basis. So we're going to put this to no. And we want the 5-minute time frame to be the basis of J. Arling. So now we're going to let this load. 5 total trades, not bad. Now, this is how J. Arling looks. Pause the video, go back to it for risk mitigation. In fact, in a few seconds, take a good look at all these settings, write them down if you want. Now let's go back up to risk mitigation, just to double check it. Okay, there's technical. Here we are, risk mitigation. And everything checks out perfect. So now I'm going to click OK. And there we go. 100% profit rate. Now, this says it's going to take 2,476 bars or candlesticks per trade. But I have seen actual trading take place anywhere from 1 to 3 times a day. So this is what we want. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. So you've seen this part of it. Now let's go look at the paper trader where I've actually put this together. I've got the alerts set up already. Been through that before, so I'm not going to go through a lot of it today. But I am going to talk about a problem here with the alerts real quickly. Once you've gone through the strategy tester, load the indicator, plug in all of the information into the indicator, and then delete or remove the strategy tester from your chart. That is important. For some reason, TradingView blocks signals to alerts if the strategy tester is loaded when you are trying to make your alerts. So be sure before you make your alerts, close the strategy tester. But make sure you have all of the information carefully documented. That way, when you go into the indicator, you can reproduce the results. As you can see, I've got all sorts of alerts going on. They're firing off like crazy, which is what we want. Now I'm running 2 different bots with a lot of different signals. For now, let's open this up. Get a new window here. I'm going to close TradingView just because it's so heavy. I'm going to go to 3C Exchange. I've already got it loaded, logged in. Well, actually, no, I don't got it logged in. Okay, let me pause this and then we'll log in. Okay, now that I am logged in, as you can see, I have my paper account set for default. Let's go to my bots. Always start with a paper bot. Always start here first. Now I'm going to walk you through the process here because I've recycled this bot. As you can see, I've done a lot of weird coins with it. So let's come down to the bot we want. Right here, you'll notice I plugged everything into the title bar. That way when I'm looking at this bot, I know exactly what the strategy is. Very simply put, very easy to keep track of it. Everything I just gave you in TradingView spelled out right across the title. Now you can see the first strategy I had didn't work well. This particular strategy started picking up. As you can see, the last 2 days I've gotten a small profit each day. And it's done 2 days in a row with buys and sells. That's what I wanted. This little gap is where I was doing my analysis, trying to figure out how to make the process better. I started out with an order size of 11, safety orders of 11, and a maximum of 10 safety orders. In fact, let's go in and edit this spot to get a better picture of how I've set it up. Because it's an interesting bot that uses about, I think, $1,200 for a budget. It can be easily adjusted and easily tuned, but it does well. Again, my very complex title, $1,210 is what this bot will take. Now, we get to the good stuff. I'm using 10 active deals. So 10 separate positions, long only for this bot. Base order, safety order. Market trades only. Trading view signals because I want Jackrabbit to control it. Take profit at 99% because again, Jackrabbit is controlling it, everything. Now, I've set a stop loss at the 11% mark because I have 10 safety orders with a 1% deviation. So basically I'm covering 10% of this coin with dollar cost averaging. But in the event the coin just goes horribly south, I want out at 11%. But I don't want out right away. Just in case the coin drops and then quickly bounces back, I want to give it a 12-second leadway. That way, in the event that I get one of those crazy swings, I'm not kicked out right then and there. Give it a little bit of time to recover, but not much. So there we have it. Simple and easy. 10 different trades, 10% safety orders for each and every trade. And then an emergency 11% stop loss. Now, I find this works well for my risk assessment. If you have a budget that can handle higher, by all means go for higher. If you have a budget that can handle less, for example, if you have a $100 budget and that's all you want to put into this, you can make changes very easily just by taking this from 10 to 1. Now we're at 122. Simply take down your safety orders and lower your stop loss. Very easy, very simple, very clean to change around and actually manipulate to get a good reference point. So here's our bot. It's a very simple bot, very easy to make changes to. It does reasonably well, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. Nothing else to it really. All the rest of it is pretty straightforward. So, now at this point you would save the bot. But since I already have it saved, I'm just going to go to my deals. And then I'm going to go into my deal history so I can show you specifically how this particular recipe has been doing. Okay, here we are, the deals page. Now let's go here. Here's the history. Now at first, this is going to bring up the history of every single bot I am running on my paper account. Wait for this to load. Then I'm going to pick only one single bot. And right now it's running at a loss because the first strategy I had didn't work well. But then you'll see when I made the changes to this system, it started turning around. Now you're going to get losses. This is normal. But you can see the trades, about 3 hours, about 3 hours. This one held on for about 12 hours. Remember, the shorter your time frame, the more likely you're going to incur losses. What counts is that your average is profitable. And that's what this banks on. You're running a 1 minute time frame, this is going to be normal and consistent. You're going to take losses and you're going to take profits. That is normal. What is important though is you notice here My stop loss is at 11%, but I have not filled 11 safety orders or 10 safety orders. Throughout this entire page, I haven't done any safety orders that have gone above just a few. That's important. If you start seeing too many safety orders, then you need to really think about tuning the coin. And as you can see, it's done some fairly reasonable profits. So let's go to the bot itself and see its history. Now again, this bot was automatically at a loss because of previous testing. I use that as my hallmarks when I measure success. For example, I see here this caused a major loss. I needed to do something about that. Here I made a change, it did well, it kicked it back up. But here I completely rethought the entire approach and it brought me up here. So that's the kind of stuff you need to think about when you're paper testing. Also, when you come down to your history, so far I'm underwater altogether with this particular bot. Good information to know, it keeps me going. But you'll see I closed my last trade. After holding it for about 3 hours, it showed up as a loss, only 8 cents. This one showed up as a loss of 1 penny. Again, you're going to see that. That is normal. So as you look towards your strategies, lower time frames are automatically higher risks. Lower time frames are also automatically more natural losses, simply because you're more prone to rapid whipsaw or retracement. What you have to look at is the long-term capability of it profiting rapidly. Not necessarily a lot, but rapidly. So if I can continue with these kind of a process, then this strategy will turn around and be profitable. And I have used this strategy before under different configurations, and it does do well in the long term. But in the short term, it does have its bad days. So when you're looking at your strategies, think about the bad days as well as the good days, because it's not always going to go right every single day. But the changes I made with this bot have already shown to do a much better job than my previous implementation. This is why you always have to test everything. Even when the paper trader says you should get a profit, sometimes the market doesn't always go that way when you start applying real-time data. Test, analyze, carefully watch. I have this particular recipe running both on CryptoHopper and on TradingView. So I have a side-by-side double-blind analysis, both of them driven by the same signals. That way I can actually compare results and get a standard deviation of what to expect with real money. That's how you properly test your strategies. It's not quick. It's not an instant flash, this is going to work, now where? Once you see what the strategy is going to do, then you factor in the platform-specific features like dollar cost averaging, take profit, or stop losses. Then you will see over a period of a week just how well or how unwell your combination is going to perform. Yes, I know at the end of the month we all have to break even, but you're not going to break even if you rush. You're not going to break even if you take shortcuts. Take the time to properly test and analyze what you've put together. Because once you get it right, then you can start scaling up your position sizes appropriate to your budget. That will get you to your break-even point. But rushing it will only cost you money in the long run. Until next time.